Hey everyone, so let's talk stories. And today I'll be talking about Lethal White. So this is a fourth novel in the Cormoran Strike series written by Robert Galbraith. That's Miss J.K. Rowling. Now, coming to this plot of the story, it continues from the cliffhanger that was that's unresolved by the end of the third novel, The Career of Evil, where Robin, the Cormoran Strike's secretary is at the in the wedding chapel and agrees to marry his fiance, whom she doesn't love, and that's when the third book ends, and the fourth book begins with a prologue of what happens at the wedding and how Robin decided to go forward with the wedding, and what Strike's reaction to the wedding. So the readers know that both of them like each other, but they can't take the step forward in accepting their affection to each other. So that's where the fourth novel begins. And as the story progresses, the story progresses in a slightly lighter note than that of the previous novel, which was a very gory one. Now the premise of the story looks to be very simple. It sounds in the initial chapters, it sounds as a simple blackmail detective story, where the story begins when Billy Knight, young teen, he's not even teen kid, he's a young man who's not mentally well, approaches Strike, claiming that 20 years ago he witnessed a crime where uh, uh, a small kid was choked to death and was buried. And the Billy Knight character runs away from Strike when a police enters into the Strike's office. Now this is where the plot begins, and when Strike and the newly married Robin. So all this is happening one year after Robin's marriage, and they start to in the back of their minds, they start to ruminate over the things that the Billy Knight character said. Now, a couple of characters comes into picture right from the straight off the bat. That is Jimmy Knight and a minister named Chisel. Now Jimmy Knight is a brother of Billy, and he's a guy who organizes this protest in the government for the upcoming Olympics that were being held in London. All this, is a proper thuggish kind of guy. And now there is Jasper Chisel, who is a minister, and who is a minister in London. Now, as the story progresses, and as Strike and Robin were busy because of their gained popularity from the last book, they were busy uh, they handling their other cases, and they were just keeping their eye on what Billy Knight said. Now, while this was progressing, Strike gets a call from the same Jasper Chisel, the guy, the minister whom the Strike and Robin dug up some information related to Billy's claim. Now, the claim that Mr. Chisel starts making is there is someone out there, and he knows even there is someone who's blackmailing this Chisel guy with some pictures which he thought was legal, which he there is someone out there who is blackmailing Chisel for something he did sometime way back in the past. When he did those things, it was legal, and now it was illegal, and Chisel didn't want these things to come up to the light. And the person who is blackmailing Mr. Chisel is the same Jimmy Knight, who is a brother of Billy, and along with him there is the other character who works in the same office, Mr. Wynn. Okay, all this so there is a kidnapping drama which kicks in right off the bat, where Strike is hired by Chisel, and Robin Strike is hired by Chisel to find some incriminating evidence against Jimmy and Mr. Wynn, so that he can use those incriminating evidence against them to handle their blackmailing on him. Now this is where the plot of the novel takes off, and this goes to a very minute detailing where all of the Mr. Chisel's family gets involved because of his political affluence, and there are multiple subplots that range for multiple family members. And at some point, Robin is Robin goes undercover to work for Chisel uh, to get some evidence against Mr. Wynn, who works in the same office. Right, his some Mr. Wynn married a Paralympic minister, and because there's some bad blood between Mr. Wynn and Chisel. And while this story is progressing, and Robin finally gets some evidence against Chisel, which Chisel can use, to push back against Win, and they also, and there is nothing against Jimmy yet. So now, but Jimmy for some reasons is not able to go to police or newspapers to get to get what he needs for multiple reasons that gets unwinded down the line. But as a viewer, until half of the story, you only see the blackmailing aspect of it, with multiple people, multiple characters being popping up, and you see why does Strike push everyone away who starts to love him, right? So you start to understand Strike's character a little bit more, in a sense that when Charlotte comes back into his life, he has a very fierce conversation claiming that, so you know what, you are the reason why I'm not able to accept anything in my life now. So in this book, there is the Strike gets a fantastic companion, and but he just can't accept her love towards him, and he can't even reciprocate the same back to her. Now we as a reader, we think, why can't he just accept uh, something good that's coming towards his way? But when we read the conversation between Strike and Charlotte, I think we understand his psyche on how hardwired his emotions uh, were, or I mean how hardwired his emotional network became, to because of his 16-year journey, 16 year uh, troubled journey with Charlotte. And Charlotte asks him to take her back, and there is so much drama that goes in. But there's always a subplot. But while the character development is going on, there is a trouble in paradise. It's not in paradise. There is a trouble in Robin's marriage as well. So that's a whole subplot again, which starts to develop in a different way. So the good thing about this book is there is so much personal growth, there personal insights that we get into the lives of uh, uh, Strike and Robin. And there is a fantastic sequence where Strike breaks down when he gets to know that his cousin is not well. That's where we actually see we see Strike, and in his most vulnerable state, and he starts talking to Robin, and these conversations between Robin and Strike are something to look for. I think they are a very strong magnetic pull for the readers like me, who doesn't want to read these novels for just for sake of plot, but we want to understand how the relationship, how the dynamics of the between Robin and Strike play out. Now, among all this personal development, among all these personal stories that we get, mainly in the first half, then happens a murder. This is where things start to heat up. Now, the murdered guy is none other than Mr. Chisel himself, and Robin finds him murdered in his own house. Now, anything forward, anything I say is going to be a spoiler, so I'll spin it in a different way. I'll tell you who are the suspects, and on what are the good things about cracking this. I mean, how did Robin and Strike crack this case? It's an elaborate process, but I'll just try to break it down. There are multiple suspects. One is Jimmy and his girlfriend, who is heavily involved in all this political opportunistic bullshit. And there is Mr. Win, Mrs. Win, and there is secretary who work for Mr. Win, and there is Mr. Chisel's wife, and there is his stepson Raphael, and that's it. They're probably, yeah, that's it. Probably seven members of close members and some blackmailers and all this, right? Now, from the beginning of the novel, the thing that Jimmy and Win are blackmailing Chisel is kept very secret, right? As a reader, we don't know, and nobody in the book mentions it. Now, when Strike and Robin tries to, goes about unearthing the secret, things start to slowly come into picture. Okay, this is what he's being blackmailed for, but why was he murdered? So the very good thing about all these novels is you don't even know, there is no hint of anything until Strike goes into a monologue explaining all the deductions, right? There is an as opposite to all the other novels, it was not Strike who makes the deductions. Now it was Robin. Now there is a fantastic sequence by the end where Robin was forced to make the deductions, and I think it was a really good change for Robin to tell the viewers like what were the deductions that were made, and how was the killer found out. And obviously one major complaint that I have with all this Cormoran Strike novels is that um, the ending looks very rushed. The ending looks extremely rushed, that the deductions happen, the killer is caught, that's it, the end. There is no, that happens in, like, I don't know, probably in the last 10 minutes, 10 pages. It's a 640 page book. Then the reductions and happened in the last 10 minutes. All that build up is for the build up could have been little bit more. So the deductions and the payoff could have been little bit more. Yeah, but yeah, I think I like this the most out of all the four novels, probably because I think, as I've said this, so the more the personal insights I start to get from Robin's and Strike's life, the more I start to relate, the more I start to understand them personally. I think that was a major reason that this was probably a good effort. And the killer probably is well placed. I think the killer, I think you don't suspect the killer at all here. Probably um, the killer's motive was hidden very very well. And if you are someone who would want to read procedural, it's not who done, it's not completely a who done it, but if you're someone who wants to read a detective procedural novel with lots of twists and turns, with lots of characters, lots of, it's a solid plot. I think you like it. And but still the question remains unanswered: will they or won't they Strike and Robin? Probably in the next book will answer that. Yeah, I think that's it for Little White by Robert Galbraith. uh, I'll cheers, I'll catch you in the next one.